Obama demands compassion for Syrian refugees as he swears in new citizens. Oh, you demands it, do you? What's going on, guys? I'm MaKaElectric. It is Friday, the 18th of December, 2015. Let me give you this article from the Washington Post. I got a bunch of stuff to give you here. President Obama made a pitch Tuesday for Americans to remember their immigrant roots, describing the U.S. as a traditional home for refugees fleeing the world's worst troubles. I'll put a link to this. You demands it, huh? Well, this isn't about helping little Syrian kids and, women and refugees who are trying to... This is about flying a known enemy into the United States on the taxpayer's dime. An enemy that we created, to have a cover story so that when the false flag goes off and, multiple city nuclear detonation is what I think is coming. Could be anything. But when all this happens, you got a great cover story. Well, the refugees did it. It was the Derka. I'll put a link to this. You demands compassion for Syrian refugees. I demands compassion for the homeless people in America. I demand compassion for our freaking veterans before we start worrying about any refugees. How about that? It's absolutely disgraceful that we need something called the Wounded Warrior Project. Why is the government not taking care? No, you got what's her name? Susan Sarandon up on TV late night talking about, don't you want to feed starving children in Africa? Meanwhile, the United States government drops hundreds of billions of dollars of bombs all over the world every day. I mean, why don't we take some of that money and feed the starving? There is enough. If we would take just 1/100th of the money we spend on war, we could feed everyone on the planet. Sorry to go off on a rant. I got a bunch of stuff to give you here. This news comes as Texas backs down from effort to block Syrian refugees. Very disappointing. That ABC News out of Texas. Meanwhile, heads up, my friends in Canada. Syrian refugees arrive in Canada this December 11. What's it going to cost the Canadian people to bring refugees into their country? Well, we know it's costing the American people, $68,000 per head? $68,000 per head. Up in Canada, we got cost of Syrian refugee plan pegged at $1.2 billion over 6 years. Be advised, my friends in Canada. Now, look at this. What kind of people are we flying in here? Hundreds of migrants armed with iron bars and hammers storm Canal Tunnel and bid to reach the UK. This is what's going on over there. And how many of these people may be terrorists? Well, 2 suspected of links to the Paris attacks arrested in Austria Refugee Center. You mean the refugees? There's terrorists embedded with the refugees? No way. Seems like a lot of us were warned of this months ago. There you go, from WND. Now, what is this? Is also a war to destroy America, to take God and Christ out of everything. I'm not even a religious person, but I can see it plain as day. I'm an agnostic myself. I got a lot of questions. That doesn't mean that I don't see that there's an agenda at play here. Look at this. School confronted for erasing Christmas from tree lighting. This 4 days ago from WND. This happened out of New Hampshire. Meanwhile, you got the Daily Mail. Indiana high school forced to use mannequins for nativity scene after federal judge banned student actors because they may convey an endorsement of religion. Okay, you got from the New York Post. Look at this. School bans Santa, Thanksgiving, and Pledge of Allegiance because it might offend the Muslims. What the hell is happening here? I got one more to give you here. 3 little pigs banned from classroom for potentially offending Muslim. Where'd this happen? It doesn't really matter. I'll put a link to this. It's all over the place. Now you might say, okay, separation of church and state. Maybe it's a good thing. People have different views when it comes to religious stuff. I understand that. I'm not trying to argue that point. But why? For the people who are going to claim, separation, why is it that we're going out of our way to push the Muslim agenda? And boy, you better not say anything bad about Islam. Look at this. Students practice by writing, "There is no God but Allah." This from Fox News out of Virginia. You got parents question choice to sing Allah Akbar at holiday concert. This is what's going on in Minnesota. CBS local media. You got Missouri dad drags teen daughter from school, beats her in the parking lot for not wearing her hijab headdress, whatever the hell that thing's called. Put a link to that. Child abuse? No. Religious objection. He's allowed to do that, I guess. That's called Sharia law. That's what they want to bring in here. Across the nation, across the world, Sharia law. Look at this. Muslim boys are just being teenagers when they plot terrorist acts, Islam conference told. Where's this happening? Now, somewhere in the world. Put a link to that. They're just kids being kids. Come on. U.S. judge. Now, look at this. If you have any doubt that there's a Muslim agenda, U.S. judge sworn into office on the Quran. I'll put a link to it. I don't know where this happened at. New York, New York's newest civil judge She doesn't want the Bible. She wants the Quran. From Express, we got the Derka beheading plot. Jihadists send letters to EU civilians ordering them to convert or die. Be advised, my friends in the EU. Meanwhile, I'm sure that what I'm saying here is going to be considered hate speech at some point down the line, sooner or later, because you can't speak out against it. You can't speak out against the agenda. RT puts this out. Google, Facebook, and Twitter will delete online hate speech. Really? Who makes the decision as to what is hate speech? You know? Put a link to this from RT. We got one, speaking of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg backed immigration bill that would allow unlimited Muslim immigration. Bring them on in, he says. 13 December from Breitbart. Another one from Breitbart. We got Obama administration. Let me remind you, because when this fight does come along, they're going to start, silencing people speaking out against Islam and speaking out against the state. Let me remind you, October 2nd, 2015, Obama administration and UN announced global police force for extremism in the United States. Global police force to fight extremism in the United States. Do you think they're talking about radical Islam? Because President Obama still has not said those words. No, I believe they're talking about patriotic Americans. I think they're talking about the Patriot Act, the National Defense Authorization Act, all those things that we were told were put in place to protect America, to be used on patriots. One more at the bottom. Former congressman unleashes on Attorney General. Remember the Attorney General come out and say, you better not say anything bad about Muslims. We're just going to start prosecuting people. Well, this person has some balls. They say, go ahead and prosecute me. I dare you. Shout out to them. That link from the Blaze at the bottom. Please tell me your thoughts. Do you think there's an agenda to take God out of everything while bringing Allah and the Caliphate in? Or am I just reading too much into this stuff? This stuff is alarming to me. Maybe it's not alarming to anyone else. Man, I could see the shift. I could look at this as a third party. I'm an agnostic. I'm not looking at this from any particular side. I'm just telling you from an agnostic's point of view, this is what I see going on. Tell me what you see. Please rate the video. Please pass it around. Make people aware of what's going on. We are losing this nation, in my opinion. Where did all the great YouTubers go that were around years ago? You guys need to come back. This fight is just getting started. Where is everybody? You guys take care. Stay safe. I'll see you on the next one.